I loved training. I loved to compete. I loved kicking the pads. I loved sparring. I loved learning patterns. I loved Taekwondo, but I could not stand teaching it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Off the Mat. My name's Josh Dumoulin, and whether you're listening to us on an audio, Spotify or Apple or Google or whatever, or maybe you're just watching us here on YouTube, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support. We have gotten a lot of people who have messaged us privately, or if you train with us and you've talked to us in class about how you have enjoyed these episodes and maybe you've extracted something from them, you've learned some lessons, and we're just eternally grateful for all of the support that all of you guys give. So I just want to give a special thank you to everybody who listens and reviews and shares these episodes, because really that's the goal of what we do here with this show, is just, for a chance for us to share things that either have happened to us in our life along our martial arts journey, or maybe as parents or as coaches, so that way we can help the future generation of martial arts students, competitors, coaches, instructors, even school owners, so that way we can just, promote the healthy lifestyle through martial art. And today I have actually kind of a special episode. It's just me by myself, and because it's just me by myself, I wanted to talk about something that happened to me a long time ago, and how it actually started my martial arts teaching career, if you will. I'm going to be talking all about the moments in your life that happen to you that can change the course or the trajectory of where you're going to go, where you're going to go in life, what you're going to do. And I believe that we all have these major moments in our life that can make a big difference in where we go, what we do, and who we become. And the interesting thing about these moments, these fork in the road, if you will, is they're not always big moments that we can identify clearly. Sometimes they're just really small interactions with an individual or by yourself that can change what it is you do. So I'm going to be going all the way back to when I was a teenager and talking about how the fact that I actually hated, that's right, I could not stand teaching Taekwondo. I didn't like it. My dad had a school, and it was just definitely something that I didn't enjoy doing. Now, at that point there, I had already been training in martial arts for probably 10 years or so. My dad opened his school when he was 15, and I started when I was around 5 years old. And so I loved training. I loved to compete. I loved kicking the pads. I loved sparring. I loved learning patterns. I loved Taekwondo, but I could not stand teaching it. And I don't know what it was, I just had other interests at that time in my life. Like I said, I enjoyed training martial arts. I enjoyed mountain biking. I had other things that I was interested in. I was a teenager, and it could have been, maybe the fact that my dad had the school, and as soon as I was finished school, we would go to the dojang and have to help him with classes, and then train ourselves, and then do our homework. And I don't really know what it was, but I just know that teaching wasn't what I enjoyed doing. My dad did, and he was very, very good at it, and that was his thing. He loved teaching, and I never understood why, and I didn't really care why either. I was, like I said, it just wasn't my thing. So, and I know if you know me now and you watch me on the floor, hearing that often usually surprises people. So if you're hearing that for the first time, it might surprise you. You might be a little bit shocked to know that, yes, I, in fact, did not enjoy teaching at all when I first started. So, but I got a little bit older, a few years went by, and few things happened, and I started having to teach more. My dad was moving on to some other things, and he had asked me to step in and just teach classes. And as I said, at that point in time, I had no interest in teaching martial arts running a martial arts school, I had other things I wanted to pursue. So my plan was just to say, or I told him, was I'll help out around here. I'll teach some classes, and when maybe somebody else, like secretly, like I'll be kind of looking, and if somebody else has some interest or maybe a passion of this, I'll be able to sort of put them in the place that I have taken and be able to kind of walk away and go and do my own thing, whatever it was that I was interested in at that time. And so I don't know how long it was from the time when I started stepping in more and doing more classes. Again, even at that time, it still wasn't something that I enjoyed, but there was a unique situation that happened when I was teaching class, and it all happened with this little boy named Noah. And I'm teaching classes, and we're doing some patterns, and this little boy raises his hand, and he goes to me, he goes, "Sir, we happen to be doing an L stance." And if you know Taekwondo, the L stance is just, it's a stance in our patterns where our feet are in the shape of the letter L, and we have a weight distribution where we're kind of heavy in the back leg. So we're all in this stance here. We're all in this position. And he raises his hand, and he says, "Sir, why is this called an L stance?" And little Noah here, I don't remember. Noah was probably around 6 or 7 at the time. And he kind of goes, "Why is this called an L stance?" And I just said, "Well, take a look at your feet, Noah, and just tell me what shape your feet are in right now." And he kind of looks down, and it takes him a second. And he, with excitement and awe, he like looks up, and his eyes go really wide, and he looks at me. He goes, "They look like an L." And he was so excited about how he figured out the name of the L stance and why it's called an L stance. And it was such a, and I looked at him and I went, "Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's in the shape of an L, and that's why we call it an L stance." And it's really simple. It's like I said, it's such a, like I said, at that moment, I actually thought nothing about it, but it was kind of in that little bit when I saw how excited he was, his light bulb moment, his excitement, his aha moment was also my aha moment, was my excitement. I kind of had this little light bulb switch of my own when I saw how excited he was. When I saw how excited he was to have learned that, I realized why instructors do what they do, why martial arts instructors, why teachers, why people who teach or coach do that. When I realized that it was my expertise, my knowledge, what it was that I was giving to him was helping him, and he was learning from that, I realized in that moment why people do what they do when it comes to coaching or teaching. And so it took that little interaction with this young boy in class to make me realize why I should be a Taekwondo instructor, or why I actually do love this art, and why I should be sharing it, why I should be teaching it, why I should be coaching it. I always think back to that moment of, and I remember it quite well, just the whole moment, the whole interaction, just him having his excitement. And when he was excited that he realized why we call it an L stance, and then me realizing why people enjoy this. And after that, I began to fully commit to teaching. I then started to really level up my skills as an instructor. I started watching other people, how they taught. I went to other martial arts instructors, and I would go and train at their schools just to watch how they taught, to watch how they engaged with the students, how they interacted with people, what they taught, how they spoke. And I began to just become obsessed with becoming the best instructor I possibly could. So it took a simple question from a little boy, about 7 years old, to make me realize why we do what we do, why giving back to others is so important, why sharing your knowledge and not hanging on to it, grasping it, and not giving it to other people is so important. Why, if you have a piece of information, why you should not just hold on to it, and why you should share that information. If you have skills or knowledge in something, to share it with other people. And so it took that little interaction with that young boy for me to realize that. And I'm thankful every day for that moment with Noah, because if it wasn't for that little moment, I don't know what I would be doing. Maybe I would still be teaching, but maybe I wouldn't have the same drive to it. I don't really know. It's really hard to say, but that one moment was a major fork in the road here for me, where if that didn't happen, maybe I would have found somebody to take over the school. They would have come in and I would have gone on to do something else, anything else, who knows? But that moment there put me on the path here where I began to obsess about teaching Taekwondo, obsess about learning how to teach better, obsess about becoming better myself, and then just really give as much back as I could. So I always think back to that little moment all the time. And so really what I want you guys to take away from this episode here is that you don't always know when life is going to show you your purpose. And these moments can be big or they can be small. And what I want you to do is I want you to just be grateful for every little moment you have with every individual. And just remember that you are one little moment away from finding your purpose in life. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. I hope you enjoyed that little story. And long story short, I still teach Taekwondo 15 years later, and I love it more than ever. If you guys enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to me if you left a review, if you shared it with somebody, if you left us a review or just, subscribe to this channel here. It would mean the world to us. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Off the Mat. My name's Josh Dumoulin, and we will see you all next time.